Look, I also need you to answer a question for me because so much talk in the spring. I've heard people say McCaffrey looks great. He's bouncy. He's explosive. He looks fast. I've heard other people say he looks so slow. He's lost a step and he's washed. Like, where is McCaffrey? I know he's running against air, but you don't need him to be 100% right now in May and June. He even said it himself. Like, he wasn't looking to be in his 2023 form. He wanted to practice every day, feel good, and be healthy. And he has plenty of time to work on the speed and explosiveness and the twitch to his game. So how did McCaffrey look? Because that's a huge question that I'm curious about and others as well.
Well, I mean, it's debatable, obviously, because it's shorts and no pads. But to me, I'll just defer to the words that I put out there when I saw it the first time. I thought he looked bouncy. I thought he looked healthy. I thought he looked pretty explosive. I thought he looked faster at points in these OTAs that I ever saw him look at any point last year.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm seeing. I asked him, by the way, and I'll share the screen on this one. I asked him a question the other day because I heard that. It's a good question. My question was, it's like, I know you're healthy now, but you haven't played football in forever. Right. Are you actually healthy? Are you just kind of rested? And here's what he had to say.
A lot of time kind of building back a base.
Christian, how are you feeling as far as the PCL, the Achilles? Do you have any pain? Do you have any concern that when you start playing football again that some of that may return?
No, I feel great. I think this offseason I spent a lot of time kind of building back a base, starting from scratch. So a lot of it was rehab, and wanted to put myself in a position where I didn't miss a day of OTAs and I could practice and play football again and be healthy and not miss a day. And I did that. And now it's, we can kind of kick back up to
Christian.
Okay, so he's basically saying, hey, look, I'm healthy. It's behind me. I figured it out, so on and so forth. But nevertheless, part of the answer is that football is violent. Part of the answer is that football, causes injuries. All I'm saying is, look, get to the finish line with your guy and have a chance. Give yourself a chance in the ultimate game. Don't run this guy into the ground. Don't use this guy. Bobby T said something to me that was like, it was interesting, but it was also kind of ominous. He's like, I let Christian be Christian. You're the coach. Stop letting Christian be Christian. You're the coach.
Shanahan said the same thing.
You decide when he plays. Shanahan, I defer to Christian. Stop it. You're the coach. It's you're the guy who hasn't won the Super Bowl. Maybe you would win the Super Bowl if you got to the Super Bowl with Christian McCaffrey ready to roll. Stop this 85-15 usage split between McCaffrey and everybody else isn't going to work anymore. It's a long year. I would like more of a, minimum 75-25. Minimum. I got to see Guerendo get touches. I got to see some of these other guys get touches. I realize Christian's better than them at everything. So what? It's a long year. Mix in, the Eagles, they went with Barkley heavily, but you still got to mix in a Gainwell every now and then. And especially when everybody knows, like when Niners are going to win some games, they're playing some really bad teams. They're going to have a lead in the fourth quarter. They're going to try to put games away by running the ball. Run the ball with somebody not named Christian McCaffrey at that point. You have to be able to put, when everybody knows you're going to run, the running back's going to take tons of hits. It's a little bit of a sacrificial lamb position as you're putting away the game. Don't take those carries off of Christian. And if you don't, guys like me are going to talk about it. And then the fans are going to talk about it. And then people are going to make you do it. So either do it before we make you do it. That's what I would say. Because right now, Shanahan is in this mode of like, I asked him this question a couple years ago. Hey, Kyle, Christian's on pace for like 400 plus touches. Is that what you want? Is that sustainable? And he's like, well, he's our best running back. He's our best receiver. He's our best blocker. I get it. But I mean, you're going to have to use your backups eventually one way or another. You might as well sprinkle them in as opposed to being forced to go with them. I don't know. They have a very weird approach when it comes to managing McCaffrey's touches.
Well, you think back to Mike Shanahan when he was with the Broncos in the 90s, he ran through a bunch of running backs. And Terrell Davis's prime, he's a Hall of Famer. It didn't last that long because Mike Shanahan ran him into the ground. You think about since Shanahan has come to the Niners in 2017, I mean, how many different times have different running backs led the team in rushing yards? I mean, there's been a lot of different guys who have either popped or led the team in rushing yards because Shanahan, Kyle, like Mike, has run through a bunch of backs. And the one thing, too, with the Eagles in the Super Bowl, Saquon had under 60 rushing yards in that game. I mean, the Chiefs made it a point to sell out against the run. They forced Jalen Hurts to beat them. And to Jalen Hurts' credit, he played his best game of the year, and he was surgical against Spags' defense. But if you didn't have Saquon on the field, how the Chiefs would have defended the Eagles would have completely changed. And so when you don't have McCaffrey on the field, how teams defend you, it completely changes. We saw that last year, and the Niners really had a hard time in making the necessary adjustments without CMC. And that's not even mentioning their third down struggles, how they struggled in the red zone. And it's not like we're talking about Patrick Taylor getting carries or Israel Abanikanda. You have Isaac Guerendo. You moved up in the 4th round to take him. You drafted Jordan James in the 5th round. Use these players, and you extended McCaffrey, and you gave him a pay raise. So keep the future in mind a little bit, knowing that he's a 29-year-old running back with a large injury history. One more thing, too, that stood out with what McCaffrey said there. If you want to nerd out, I nerd out all the time on this stuff, but McCaffrey is so detailed with his offseason workouts. And if you just go on YouTube and you search Christian McCaffrey track workouts, you will see how technical he is with his training methods. And what he said in that clip, provoked by the question that you asked him, he's like, I just wanted to build back a base after starting from scratch. Ladies and gentlemen, he had bilateral Achilles tendonitis, right? And then he had that knee injury where he was in this bulky knee brace. And that's a pretty severe knee injury that he had. I'm not looking for him to be at tip-top speed in May and June. I'm looking at what he looks like in August, September, and throughout the regular season. By design, he's not going to peak in May and June. And if you go back and look at some of his track workouts, like all of that is being done to plan for the regular season, not for minicamp, not for OTAs. His training methods, and he's worked with the speed coach for a really, really long time. It's all to build up toward the regular season. And so Christian McCaffrey knows that. He answered it with your question. Just the simple fact that he's been healthy right now is huge for the Niners because he's going to play such a huge role with this Niners offense in 2025 if he stays healthy. And that unit is completely different when he's on the field as compared to when he's off it. We saw that last year.
Here's the stat that I think all Niner fans should remember. Christian McCaffrey has missed 10 games, at least 10 games, in 3 of the last 5 seasons.
Yep.
So he's healthy now, but doesn't mean he's going to be healthy at the end. And him being healthy at
2021, he played a combined 10 games, and then last year he only played 4.
And he's one of the best players in football when he's healthy. So keep him healthy. And if you didn't have other backs, I'd say, you got to bite the bullet. But you do have other backs. Run them.